We are headed towards Worlds Collide. And guys, NXT just got a lot more glamorous.
All your favorite wrestling shows rolled into one. Welcome to the We Book It podcast. Let's start the show.
Yeah. Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of Who's Next with NXT, a part of the We Book It podcast. Guys, this is your NXT review for Tuesday night. And guys, listen, oh my gosh, I'm going to say the Chicago Cubs. I'll tell y'all what, doing two podcasts is not easy. I've said so much wrestling stuff on a Chicago Cubs podcast, and I've said so much Cubs stuff, especially over the last couple of weeks on this wrestling podcast. However, we're here to talk about wrestling. So with that being said, hey, listen, guys, make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And also, if this is your first time watching, let me know that this is your first time watching. Guys, we appreciate each and every last one of you that do tune in to the We Book It podcast, whether it's our daily reviews of episodes or whether it's our Sunday night special shows. It's a big week, guys. We got Worlds Collide. We got Money in the Bank. And we have so much going on. Actually, stay tuned. Later this week, we're actually going to do a special We Book It episode with all the fellas where we book Money in the Bank with Big Daddy C's Booking World Championship on the line this Saturday night. So I'm excited for that. I know you guys are excited for that. I cannot wait to take that championship away from Big Daddy C because Lord knows it belongs with me. So with that being said, let's get into NXT. NXT opened with a recap of what went down last week before we went to the ring for a segment to hype Worlds Collide. Laredo Kid, Javon Evans, and Ethan Page appeared to promote the North American Championship match, but Rey Fenix was absent. Evolve Sean Legacy showed up because he has the winner of the NA title bout at Worlds Collide. More Evolve talent showed up and a huge brawl broke out. So clearly you see worlds figuratively and figuratively and actually colliding as Evolve is starting to show up on NXT more and more. And it's not a bad thing. Like I said, some of those Evolve talents are really, really good at what they do. I mean, like I said, this was all just a moment so that Worlds Collide could seem even bigger, especially with that quadruple men's match for the North American Championship. So like I said, it was really good. Next up after that, we go to Chase U versus Dark State. So Andre Chase, Uriah Connors, and Kale Dixon had a 6-man tag match this week against Dark State's Dion Lennox, Cutler James, and Osiris Griffin. Connors rushed the ring and went after the stable by himself, but was quickly tossed out of the ring. Chase tried and failed to keep the young guys under control, so their powerhouse opponents had an easy time taking them apart for the first few minutes. Chase U managed to make a comeback and take control temporarily, but a double suplex from Griffin turned the tide again, and Dark State hits its triple power bomb for the win. Again, this was a short and sweet match. They're using Chase U as an enhancement talent here to really put over Dark State as this monster stable that they are supposed to be in NXT. Really, really running roughshod and controlling everything in NXT right now. I know a lot of people liken them to the Shield. We'll just have to see what ends up happening with these guys. But again, another glorified squash match. Like I said, but yeah, that was that. And then of course we had Ava was shown telling Evans, Laredo, and Legacy to find a fourth member for an 8-man tag match, and then Dragon Lee volunteered for that. Next up we had Miles Bourne versus Charlie Dempsey. So Bourne wanted out of the NQCC, and Dempsey gave him a chance in the rounds match, which is contested the way WWE used to do the Heritage Cup. So Dempsey and Bourne made their entrance at the same time, which was a bit surprising, but an interesting detail to add. They started with a clean lockup, but Dempsey showed some frustration after being taken down with the shoulder tackle. They kept it technical and used a lot of submissions and counters instead of trying to beat the life out of each other with strikes. Bourne ended up scoring a fall right before the bell rang for the first round. We returned with only 20 seconds left in the second round, and it ended with Bourne still up 1-0. However, Dempsey took a cheap shot after the bell, which upset Sinclair and Heights. Dempsey scored a fall with Regalplex to even the score in the fourth round, and then Bourne scored another fall to win the match and earn his way out of the no quarter catch crew. This was a solid match with some great technical wrestling from both guys. Even with the cheap shot, Bourne shook Dempsey's hand at the end. It'll be interesting to see where everyone goes from here. NQCC is either going to need to recruit a new member for its group, or the group as a whole might end up disbanding. Ren Sinclair and Tavion Heights were on the opposite sides of the ring instead of being in the neutral corner. Graves pointed out how silly it is that Bourne has to earn his way out of the group. Dempsey tried to bridge up his feet but lost his footing and had to roll over Bourne instead. So, like I said, the match itself wasn't necessarily easy going, but at the same time, still a really good matchup between two really good young wrestlers. I'm curious to see what they do with Charlie Dempsey. I think he has a monster heel coming, a monster heel run coming as not necessarily an overpowering heel, but as his mind. I think he's going to use his mind and use dirty tactics like his father in order to win. And he absolutely should. I think that there's a lane for that, and I think that he will definitely be able to win over a lot of people with that and become this believable mastermind heel. I know he has that in him. It's in his blood because it was definitely a part of what his father did. In case you guys didn't remember, 2008, William Regal took over Monday Night Raw. He won the King of the Ring. He was he was Raw GM. He was one of the most powerful men ever to grace Raw at that time. And yeah, man, he had a lot to say and a lot going on. Next up, we'll do the Olympian. We'll do the Olympian Tyra May Steele versus Ariana Grace. So the Olympian and LFG winner Steele made her NXT debut this week against Ariana Grace. Grace looked like she was going to dominate the newcomer after unleashing the fury of offense in the first few minutes. But this was the debut of an Olympic gold medalist, so she was just working up to her comeback. Steele scored a very quick win with the throw, followed by a textbook German suplex. While the match wasn't much of anything, Steele showed a lot of intensity and character in a very short amount of time. If she continues to bring that kind of enthusiasm, she will do well. So one thing we noticed about WWE is that they are desperately going after actual athletes. And I'm not saying that wrestlers, the people that come into this game as pro wrestlers, aren't athletes. But I'm talking about athletes from other genres. So, like I said, this woman is an Olympian. Like I said, they're going after failed football players and failed basketball players, like Trick Williams lady, like I said. So they're figuring out different avenues and different ways of getting talent to come. And like I said, it's great. It's great for the business. It's great for WWE. It's great for NXT, and it's great for them to find a second career if the first one does not pan out. I still, however, do enjoy the people that came into wrestling because they wanted to be a wrestler, and I think they almost resonate a little bit more with the fan base than the people that picked this up as a second gig. So the Glamour, and then next up we have JC Jane coming out with Fatal Influence to celebrate her title win. Literally last week beat Stephanie Valkyrie for the NXT Women's Championship, and Stephanie already has qualified for the Women's Money in the Bank match. They are wasting no time putting that woman over. But Lainey Reed interrupted her to say she wanted a title shot. Lola Vice, Jordan Grace, Jada Parker, Kaylani Jordan, Lash Legend, and Tia Hale showed up to stake their claim as well. After this, a fight broke out, the lights dropped, and when they came back on, she was standing there off in the distance on the balcony of the NXT arena. That's right. It was Mariah May. She was in the crow's nest with the mic. She said we can call her the next women's champion. Like I said, May has been rumored for a long time to be heading to WWE, but the debut was still surprising to see on a weekly show and not a bigger event. It was a pretty simple way to bring her into the fold. So hopefully she gets a longer promo next week to explain just why she wanted to come to WWE and why NXT is about to become hers. Mariah May, she won't be in NXT long. Enjoy her while you can. There are people that just watch NXT because she ain't gonna be there long. I can promise you, after Rumble by next year, she probably will be on SmackDown. I can almost promise you that she will not be in NXT for long. She just needs to be polished, learn the WWE way to do things, get some of the AEW stank off of her, and yeah, she'll be up. Next up was the 8-man tag match: Legacy, Lee, Evans, and Laredo versus Paige and the Vanity Project. The 8-man tag match that was booked after the opening segment began with Laredo Kid and Jackson Drake trading some takedowns. The announcers mentioned Legacy and Drake's involvement in an upcoming match to crown the first ever WWE Evolve champion as they fought. The babyfaces had the upper hand until Paige almost decapitated Laredo Kid with a boot to the face as the show cut to break. Paige and the Vanity Project controlled the pace for a long time before Evans finally made the hot tag to Lee. While this match had too many moving parts for any one person to stand out, it had plenty of fast-paced action and made a few evolved talents look good in the process, which obviously was the biggest part. The result: Lee, Evans, Legacy, and Laredo defeated Paige and the Vanity Project. Corey Graves was making fun of the Vanity Project on commentary. Paige's big boot looked brutal because it sold so well. So it was a good moment. And then last but not least, we have the TNA Championship match. Trick Williams, Tricky Wicky baby, going up against Mike Santana here on NXT. So Elijah was in the crowd to watch Santana battle Williams for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in the main event of this week's show. As expected, this turned into a very physical contest right away. They weren't going for headlocks and hip tosses. They were trying to beat the hell out of each other. Santana is a well-regarded veteran, and Williams has been one of NXT's brighter prospects for quite some time now. So they found their groove quickly and worked together to make this feel like it was about more than just the title. TNA's KC Navarro and AJ Francis showed up and interfered by attacking Santana while the ref was distracted. This allowed Williams to get the win and retain his title. So Williams defeated Santana, probably going to go up against Elijah next. Could we see Trick Williams join together with KC Navarro and AJ Francis in a potential opportunity, which is so crazy to have Uncle Phil back in WWE? But again, here he is. The crowd was definitely behind Santana more than Williams, but it wasn't as if nobody was cheering for the champion. Once again, Santana is a big guy, so seeing Williams outsized him is a reminder of just how big Trick Williams is too. He almost deceptively large until you see it stand next to him. It looked like the fans sitting next to Elijah could have cared less. The exchange of kicks near the end where the match was great. So again, this was a decent episode of NXT. I would rate this episode here probably a solid B minus. Again, it was a good episode. It was one that you had to get spots. Obviously, the go home show before Worlds Collide this coming Saturday, you would think might have had a little bit more oomph to it. But again, you did get a TNA World Championship match. You did see the return of AJ Francis from Hero. Mariah May made her debut on NXT. Definitely would have thought more you would have saw her at Worlds Collide, and she might still show up there. But again, like I said, I do think that Shawn Michaels knows what he's doing, and I trust him to book these athletes in the right way. Once again, guys, this has been your Who's Next in NXT review. If you have enjoyed this review, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you want others to watch this review, go ahead and hit that share button. If you have comments or thoughts on tonight's NXT episode, please go ahead and drop those comments below. Once again, I am your host, Virgil, and this is Who's Next with NXT. Until next week, appreciate you